Hi, this is Amy,
Hi, this is Simona.
and we're the Caffeinated Librarians. Welcome. Today we'll be
Welcome.
discussing Crazy Head, and I'm going to toss this to Simona right off because I have no factual data on it.
Okay, so I had this all prepped. So Head is a 2016 British comedy horror television series, and it was created by Howard Overman. And unfortunately, it wasn't greenlit for a second season, so there's only one season of Crazy Head. It is available on Netflix, and the series leads are played by Cara Theobald and Suzanne Wakoma. And just a brief, just an introduction about what the show is about. Amy and Raquel, those are the two main characters, are called seers.
By the way, this is not going to be, oh, sorry, I interrupted. This
No,
is
that's
not going to
okay.
be confusing at all with Amy being a main character.
Exactly, it won't. I will make sure to
Show Amy. Well,
know.
I mean, I never refer to myself in third person, but go on. I'm sorry. I'm not I might be wackier than usual today.
That is fine. Wackiness is welcome. So
Okay.
basically, so in this universe, seers are people who have the ability to see the true face of demons. So demons who are on our planet can only be on our planet by possessing someone. So the possessed individual looks like everyone else unless you're a seer and you can see their true face, which is really cool the way they decided to do this on the show because it looks like they're burning up from the inside. So like their face is on fire. So unless you're a seer, you won't see that. They just look like a normal person. So at the beginning of the series, the only one or two who is aware of her gift is Raquel. She's been aware of it for many, many years. And Amy, who is the other seer, believes that she's suffering from hallucinations, that she has a mental illness. So when she and Raquel first meet, it's Raquel who lets Amy know, no, you're not crazy. I know you've been told you're crazy. You're just a seer. Amy is at first very reluctant naturally to accept this, but over the course of the show, Amy really grows and embraces who she is. And basically, that's where the story kicks off from there. And it's six episodes in total, so it's not a very long show, but it is one that's definitely worth the watch. And it's been dubbed the British Buffy. And there are some similarities, but it's definitely a show in its own right. You can see where probably the writer got his inspiration, although I did read, which is very interesting, I wanted to throw this out there, that he was inspired to create the show when he witnessed this woman who was being sexually harassed by this man. And he basically said, what would happen if the woman, instead of ignoring it, instead of walking away in fear, turns around and confronts the person who's doing this, and she takes charge and she's confident. So that was the inspiration for creating the show, because the show does definitely delve into sexual, not politics, that's the wrong word, but like sexual harassment, certain gender inequalities, and Amy, if you want to pick up on any but it addresses those topics. It runs throughout the series. Not so heavy-handed as like one issue that the writer addresses, which I'll go into that later, which I thought it sort of lost the subtlety. but
Mhm.
um, but that's definitely something that runs throughout the show.
Yeah. Um, First of all, like I didn't realize that it came out in 2016 until this morning, and that there was no like I thought this was a new series that just wrapped its first season. And so, Dan and I were like, well, we'll be back. And then I found out it was canceled and I was very sad. But I love the diversity in this show. I like right off the bat, there's a multicultural cast, and that's lovely to see. And that the none of like none of the women are really like skinny to the point of almost dead. And I definitely like I felt definitely with Buffy in like as she got as Buffy went on, she just got skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. And it could be that she was just super fit, but it also could have just been that that people were telling her to lose weight. And so that there were actually people of like normal human being size just out there was really nice to see.
Well,
So, oh, go on.
no, I wanted to, I think with Sarah Michelle in Buffy, I think, because I definitely noticed the weight loss, because when you see her in the first season, I think in the first season she was about 18 or 19 years old, so she was very young.
Hmm.
She had that youthful fullness to her. But I think also the show took its toll, I think, physically on her. I remember reading that she was very stressed out
Mm,
during the show. It was also extremely physically demanding. And
right.
I know she does know like one form of martial arts. And when I look at her Instagram, she's definitely very much physically fit. Like she really
Hmm.
worked. You would never know she had two children.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that may have been part of it because I definitely noticed the extreme weight loss
Yeah.
throughout
But
the show.
yeah, I don't want to go off on Buffy though either
Yeah,
because
yeah. But I remember reading something about that with the regards to the weight loss.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I loved so much about this show. But I also have some really hard-hitting questions about it,
Mm-hmm.
such as like they can see demons, but only when they show themselves.
Yeah, that part I thought was a little contradictory because it's
Yeah.
like the first time that Amy, well, it's not the first time because she's obviously been seeing it, but she's chucked it off to I'm mentally insane.
Right.
Um, but when we first see the character see the demon, it's basically that she just sees his face. Then
Hmm.
episodes progress, it's almost like, well, if you lose control, you'll
Right.
show your face. If you do this, you'll show your, because obviously she's been seeing, what's his name? Callum, the psychiatrist,
Right. Right.
for a while now. Raquel has been seeing the same psychiatrist, and they both obviously don't know the demon.
Right. Did we know that that Raquel was seeing him in the beginning? Like I feel like we found that out and I was like asleep until like later on when she sees him again. I was like, wait, what, huh? But I think like earlier in the season we do realize that she's seeing him, but not immediately. But
Yeah.
that doctor is not good pretty early on. Like he looks suspicious straight
Yeah, and
up.
I think he mentions, well, I think we don't really see her visiting him until I think the penultimate episode. He
Hmm.
mentions that she's definitely important, so we know that
Right. That
he's
might be,
aware of
yeah.
her. Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to remember, like, I literally gasped from one of the emotional things. Like there was like one whole episode that made me crazy. It was
Mhm.
so hard to watch. It I don't know, it might have been the fourth, but it was basically like let's see everybody's worst moments. Like it was just like I think it was that like when Amy thought that what is his name? Harry? Right? Sam? The bad guy. Love interest.
Oh, the wait a minute. Which one?
Okay. So it's great. It's so cool.
Oh, Harry. Harry. Sorry.
So yeah, so Raquel meets this guy coincidentally. And then she like finds out like more and more that should be like, I think we should stop seeing each other. But
Mm-hmm.
then like he explains everything away. so that he can betray her and have her rage and hurt and pain open a doorway to hell to pull out demons.
Mhm.
But I loved him. I loved him so much. Like I think it was when I found out that he was like evil. Like that really bummed me out. And I really, since no one can stay dead on that show, I really wish there was a second season so we could see um, if he came back because, like, he did like her, and it was, and so Dan, my husband, and I were going back and forth, back and forth. Like Dan was like, he is bad. I was like, no, 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 it's okay. Like I was Raquel. I was just like, no, no, there's some explanation, and like he would leave her and he would be smiling and then like his smile would fade. And Dan was like, no, that's not good. He's not good. I was like, no, but think about it. If you know all this stuff is going to happen and you're trying to protect her without her knowing, you'd be kind of haunted by that too. And and so like as his main apologist, I was very, very hurt by by him. I was like hoping I didn't know what to hope for because I would have been disappointed if he wound up being like if he wound up trying to save her and dying because he was trying to save her. I feel like I would have been like, well, I so called that.
Mhm.
But I also really really didn't want him to do it.
Yeah, he was a character I kind of had mixed feelings about, but one of the side characters that I truly liked and felt for is Suzanne. Um,
Oh yeah, I was thinking the boy, I can't remember, but Suzanne was lovely. Yeah. And I
yeah,
was so bummed because like she was gonna come back in the second season. You could tell.
yeah, that's what kind of bothers me about shows that get dropped. And I don't recall if it was dropped because of low ratings. Like I remember reading some comments how this particular station in Great Britain has, I think, a trend of like dropping popular shows. Like I don't think the show was doing poorly.
Right.
I just think they didn't want to extend it. But Suzanne, I loved her relationship with Amy.
Mm-hmm.
The two actresses made you truly feel as if they're
Yeah.
like just friends, they're sisters. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
such a beautiful relationship, and I felt for Suzanne because what happens to her is beyond her control.
Right. Well,
And
and
I'm
what
thinking that,
happens to all of the main characters is like beyond their control, except for
yeah,
except for Cutie Boy. I can't remember his name either because I'm bad with names.
I
The
thought I had written it down.
So Amy's coworker who is desperately in love with her. That's his
Yeah.
name. That's his name. It's a long name.
Oh,
He
his name is
hyphenate.
Jake.
Jake. So Jake is desperately in love with her and like they're like, hey, we're gonna go kill things. And he's just like he adores her so much that he believes her despite, some crazy stuff going down. Without like proof. Which was interesting to me because like honestly uh, you'd probably lose me pretty quick until somebody like returns from the dead or something. That's the point where I'd be like, okay, I'm on your team, but I'd probably call the police before that because I just can't imagine like Raquel and Amy are just acting so suspiciously and it's just like it's that scene with Raquel's brother and Amy. It almost had me running for the hills. Um, like when she's like just trying to divert his attention.
Oh yeah, that's funny. Yeah, when they first meet, that is, yeah, because the awkwardness. there are so many like funny moments, like funny, some are like cringeworthy, and other ones are like, really laugh out loud funny because I
Right.
love how they respond to situations like, yeah, we just killed someone, but do you want to have tea afterwards?
Right, right.
It's
And
just,
the like when they're taking Suzanne the Revenant out to the woods so she doesn't kill anyone, and like he's got a canoe, and everybody's like, "What? You have a canoe?" And so then, like 2 episodes later, the canoe's still on the car, and they use it as a stretcher, which that was and it was such a serious scene that they're like
Mhm.
hauling this dude in a canoe. It was really well done that they could really integrate humor into things. I loved the single mom demon. We're like super hopping around. I don't know. This week
Um,
this week is super hoppy for me.
yeah, I mean, well, since you mentioned her, I could sort of segue into the one aspect of her character that, um, not bothered me, that's the wrong word, but so basically, her name is Mercy, and she's inhabiting a single mother. And definitely tell this is the writer's commentary on, single moms, the lack of help, because like Mercy will, and this is the point where the subtlety has sort of vanished, it flew out the window, where like when you first meet her, she's basically chatting with her babysitter, trying to get the babysitter to extend the time there. And she was like, oh, that's the last time I possessed a single mother. And at that point, we would have understood what the writer is trying to say. But then it's like, you have no idea how hard it is for a single mom. Then you get Caleb. So, like your son is here. Like at one point, she refers to the son as like her bastard son. And he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, don't mind babysitting him. And then Mercy will say, oh, that's the last time. And I'm like, okay, we understand,
See,
single rough.
yeah.
But I think like you're sort of beating us with a hammer with this metaphor. Like we get it. I think like at some point it's like I understand.
Well, I
Your
think it was
character is terrible.
I think it was kind of, I see, I definitely see that, but in terms of in terms of character development, I just love it. And she obviously adores the kid. So
Yes.
so then we had to get into this a very deep conversation about like, okay, so demons are infertile. Fine.
Mhm.
Except for Raquel's father. So she's half demon. Fine. But how do you even be half a demon? So we'll just let that go for now.
Okay.
So so she's half demon, or she's possessed this woman. Um, but she likes the kid. Um, how much humanity is left over in demons? And like, are there good demons? Because like, what's his face? Harry? Harry?
Mhm.
Harry.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
Harry says like there are good demons and bad demons. How is that? Like, I don't think that like demons residing in hell are generally like chill. Like it just doesn't seem like for a demon. Maybe if they've been in a person for like thousands and thousands of years, I guess they can develop some humanity, but I don't understand. They kind of go back and forth so much in terms of like how, like half demon. So what does half demon mean? Did a half a demon come when Raquel was fathered by a demon? Like how, or does she just, is she able to overthrow her demonic nature? It's just, there are so many questions that I wish they kind of given more answers to. It seems like they were like revising the script up until airtime, as far as the demonic thing goes, because like you're making your own mythology, so you have a lot of freedom, but then you paint yourself into corners and then you have to loosen the rules. So that was that definitely the demon. the whole demon mythology, I wish they'd kind of hashed out a little more.
Yeah,
But I liked,
I agree.
oh, I really liked I liked Mercy's working mom, and no support, especially like right now during a pandemic. Like it's, it does feel parenting, everything feels lonely. And then parenting, you're like stressed and lonely on behalf of your children as well. And, so it was kind of nice seeing, really, and like just the humanity of her was so fun to see, but also very question raising to me.
Hmm. Well, if you think about Kalum, who's like the demon leader, who I would argue is probably the more callous of the few that you see, he demonstrates certain human qualities. Like I was just thinking back when he kidnapped Suzanne and he's making a
Huevos rancheros.
yeah. So so even when you see that, I think there are certain human qualities that he may have, or even if you look at some of the other demons,
Hmm.
very much human. Like they don't really behave like they're these otherworldly kind of beings. They're very human. Like you wouldn't know they're
Right.
demons until you see their face because they behave just like every other person, minus the gratuitous killing that they don't really blink at.
Hmm.
But it could be that I guess maybe for a viewer to be able to relate to a character, he or she can't be 100% evil. Um, Whereas, back in the day, if you were evil, you were evil. Like they didn't.
I mean, no, I mean, I think that Callum just an
Yeah,
evil dude that likes eggs. I mean,
he likes eggs.
he was definitely like coming on to Mercy a little bit. Like I've found that
Mhm.
having you and your spawn here has been not horrible. Like,
There was a tender moment. I thought there was something between them, but then he gets a phone call and it gets interrupted.
hmm and gives her, and like just gives her his drink,
Yeah.
which she was like, "What the?" What? Um,
Yeah.
but I think that's representative of like there's no consideration of her or the child.
Hmm.
Like he's all
Hmm.
about himself, but he himself is and enjoys having her around.
Hmm.
Um, and again that she at the very end was responsible for demons not overtaking the world because she didn't want her son to be possessed.
Yeah.
So that she was so pivotal,
Yeah.
and the love for a kid she just like kind of, you know, she fell into having this kid. And I just don't understand like why that whole thing happened when she's a pretty bad lady. So she drops into a human that has a kid. Like I don't understand why she's just like, well, guess I have to do something terrible to this kid. It's it really, again, like so many questions about the demons. Also, I'm looking at my notes too. Um, so where was I? Okay. How did they immediately get fighting skills? Like, okay, Raquel has been doing this a while, but like Amy, like pretty much day one is just kicking butt.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I didn't find, I mean, with Raquel, that since at least she was 11, she's been training. Like she mentions that her father was training.
Hmm. Right.
Um,
Yeah. So
yeah,
like you understand her, but
yeah.
I mean,
Well, Amy, I didn't see her. I mean, is there a particular, I mean, towards the end, I mean, one would assume, I mean, I don't
Well, I mean,
think
this is like over the span of like 3 days, right? It's
maybe,
not.
yeah, it's not that long. Yeah, it's probably, no, I think it's been more than 3 days, I think. But maybe it could be that Sears maybe, may be in possession of certain maybe natural skills that if they
Mhm.
some training could hone or make better. But I think the only moment where Amy, I think, at least that I am aware of, where she really shows any kind of skill is when she's fighting with Mercy. And basically, it shows that
Mhm.
she knows what's around her, like when she stabs Mercy with the toy airplane,
Right, right.
tries to choke her.
Yeah, but I mean, like the ability to just just throw down,
Mm,
like, and that whole scene when Mercy was like gonna put the kid to bed, and like the cookies were burning, and just this like crash of domesticity into demon hunting, and and like I kept like putting myself into that. Like I totally would have been like, don't worry, baby, I'll take care of the cookies. Like I just like it was so interesting because he was so stressed about the cookies. And
yeah.
like, and the mom was like, just if you want to get what you need to do done, take the cookies out of the oven. And,
Hmm.
and was that a ploy? Or did she, like it really seemed like she did not want her kid to get upset about his
I
cookies.
definitely agree, because if she really didn't care about the kid, she could have just like thrown him on the floor and then started throwing down.
Right, exactly.
I'm wondering maybe, because there's no discussion if what happens to the person whom they're possessing, like, where does that person's soul, that person,
Hmm.
where does it go? So maybe an aspect still remains. The mother's
Yeah.
consciousness is what's basically telling Mercy, please look after the kid. Maybe there's a blending. So, I mean, maybe that's one way you can explain it.
Right.
Like the gentleman that Caleb is possessing, we have no idea what his personality was like. There could
Hmm.
be similarities, which is maybe what helps with maybe the
Right.
possession being a bit more smooth if they're like, because we have no idea what he was like prior to being possessed.
Hmm.
Um,
But like that leads to more questions because it seems like it's a pretty random thing how you show up. Like when Suzanne killed that guy, or
mhm,
and the demon went to her because
mhm,
the body was dying. I mean, yeah,
mhm.
you could theoretically plan that out, but if you're living a dangerous life, there's just every possibility you're going to go with what's around. And why can't Amy be possessed? Like, I get Raquel because she's half demon, which I still don't understand, but Amy is around lots of demons getting freed, and only two of them were by exorcism. The rest of them are just getting dead.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's something that would have been explained had they been able to go to a second season.
Right.
Yeah, I had a lot of questions. There were certain things that didn't make a whole lot of sense, but a lot of the times with like a first season thing, that's when you're sort of ironing out the
Right.
quirks, and then it can get better in subsequent seasons. But yeah, that's unfortunate when something ends so abruptly because you're left with all these unanswered questions.
Yeah,
Like,
and like the kiss when she kissed Jake and he was like, "You're totally in love with me." Like, I needed some resolution there.
Yeah, or even when she kissed Raquel, because early
Hmm.
on there's probably a hint of some kind of attraction between the two of them, and I thought that the kiss was sort of cementing that. And it could be that Amy's response to Raquel, well, Amy doesn't even mention the kiss, nor does Raquel, where Raquel says,
No,
by the
they. Oh, what were you saying? Go on.
no, like I recall when Raquel says, by the way, when you kissed me and
Right, right.
you said you loved me, and Amy goes,
Hmm.
yeah, as a friend. I don't know. I mean, it's possible I'm all about strong friendships between the same gender. But I kind of thought it as maybe a hint at the possibility of a relationship between them. But then she kisses Jake, and I'm like, so does she have feelings for Jake now? Like that part
I
was,
mean,
and I don't know if the show would have addressed that, but I don't know.
well, I mean, I definitely got the impression that Raquel was bi. At first
Mhm.
I thought she was gay, but then she like she really liked what's his face again?
Scary.
Harry. So then I reevaluated to um to buy. But that so that didn't bother me. Like I feel like there was a lot of like fluid sexuality in this where like people weren't necessarily like chained down to one gender gender preference,
Hmm.
which I actually appreciated that because it wasn't, and I really would have been happy if Raquel was just gay. I think that would have been like a fantastic representation, like a main character that's super tough and um also like and also gets to be feminine.
Hmm.
And oh my god, my heart broke when she took off her jacket for Harry because she liked Harry, and that was like the first time you see her without a jacket in the whole show. And that's what, and I was like, she took off her jacket for him. But that was like obviously a big, she felt safe in that. Like that was, no matter what she was wearing, that jacket was on basically.
I loved that jacket. I really liked it. I liked the design. I really loved that jacket. Like every time she would come out, I found myself staring at her jacket. It didn't matter what else she was wearing. I
Hmm.
loved it.
Um,
I just like it. And I noticed it just came to my mind because she has her name on the back of her jacket.
oh, I couldn't read the back of the jacket, so I'm glad you could tell me what it said.
Yeah, because Amy always wears her necklace nameplate.
Oh, I didn't.
And
Yeah.
yeah, she always has that necklace on, regardless of what she's wearing. She has a necklace that says Amy. And Raquel, I believe her jacket does say Raquel. And that just came to my mind how the both of them wear objects with their names on it.
Hmm.
I don't know if there's any significance to that other
I
than
think there is. I
their
mean,
name on their
oh,
jacket. But
I'm sorry, I cut you off, and then I
no,
lost.
that's
And
okay. It just came into my head now. Like I just realized that. And I just wanted to throw
yeah,
that out there.
well, I definitely think so. And we're completely forgetting to discuss the mental illness
Oh,
aspect
yeah.
of this whole show.
Mhm,
That like there's,
mhm.
they think they're crazy. They think that they're hallucinating. Well, actually, Raquel doesn't ever think she's hallucinating because she knows.
Well,
But
she mentions that she was on medication because
oh yeah.
when Amy met, which is another thing that I just thought of, the whole notion of them being seers, because Amy mentions that she thought she was crazy, and Raquel says, "Oh, did they put you on this particular drug?" And Amy,
Hmm.
yes, but just a quick mention of seer, because when they use the term seer, it refers to, oh, you can see demons. But then
Hmm.
when Amy talks about her mother basically having premonitions. She was like, "Oh, my mother was a seer." And I'm kind of, so which one is it then? Is a seer someone who just sees demons but may not have the ability to see the future? Or is a seer someone who sees the future? I thought the use of one term to describe two different things,
Hmm.
not that it's a terribly big deal, but it's sort of like it's either one or the other,
Right.
but yeah, mental illness definitely is a big part of the show, or the perception
Right.
that if you see or behave in this way, you're mentally ill.
Yeah. And I mean, Raquel is definitely, I mean, it looks more like court mandated for her.
Yeah.
The way like they're like she has to check in and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Um, so I mean, really, she probably tried to take out a regular human being.
Probably, I mean, definitely, and like I said, I was just going back. If for example someone saw her, I'm assuming when she
Or
was
yeah.
young, she probably wasn't able to, because when you look at her as an adult, she's definitely very reserved.
Hmm.
She doesn't necessarily know how to read a person. Like I'm just thinking of when, to make Amy feel comfortable, she squeezes her boob, and she was like, that didn't work. And he was like, no. And she was like, I thought the boob squeezing would work. And then when she talks to Tyler, she was like, I think I may have made a friend. And Tyler goes, great. Like, I love Tyler. He's
Right.
such a supportive brother. And he goes, great, great. And she says, but I think I ruined it. And he's like, why? What did you do? I grabbed her boob. And Tyler goes, yeah, that would probably be a deal breaker. So
No, well, he was supportive. He's like, that's like one of my main moves.
yeah, but
He's
it's just so
yeah,
funny because he
yeah.
doesn't, she and Amy, to one extent, are socially isolated for their own reasons. One, because
Well, I mean, for their mental illnesses.
yeah, like, and also Raquel has been fighting demons for a very long time, so that in and of itself is isolating. And then Amy believes I'm insane, so you see her like she's never able to really have a stable relate. The only stable relationship in her life is Suzanne, and to some extent,
Jake.
Jake, are like the two more stable, because she doesn't have, her mom is out of the picture, her
Hmm.
dad is out of the picture. Um, so those are the only two stable relationships she has in her life. The only,
Definitely.
in spite of her quote unquote craziness, are totally there for her. You
Yeah.
know, I'm sure I would be the same way. Like when you mentioned earlier, like if your friend was telling you, by the way, I fight demons, like you would say, well, where's the proof? I would,
Right.
was like, well, if you believe it, it's okay. Like, I was
Well,
just
which is
thinking
okay
about,
up to the bludgeoning,
yeah.
really. Like there's
I
humoring
mean,
and
yeah, but knowing me, I would probably be the type of person where it's like, yeah, I just saw you bury that body. I'll help you. But then I'll say, I suggest though, like, do you want to call someone and talk about it? Like I always think of that question, like what would be the friend that would help you bury a body? And it probably would be that friend, but I'd also be, while I'm burying the body, I'd be like, are you sure you don't want to like call the police and talk about this? Like you really
I
like
really think we're
put it
gonna
in
have
building.
problems. Yeah, I don't think I'd be the friend. Um, but I did, to go back to that episode where Suzanne dies and they're
Mhm.
burying her, and and you really get a glimpse into Raquel
Mhm.
when she's mourning the bunny,
Yeah.
and Amy drop kicks it, which is a rough scene, but I get it. I get it. She just lost her best friend, and Raquel's not like did not shed a tear. And now there's
Mhm.
a bunny. But like at the end, like when Raquel is explaining, the hopes that she had
Mhm.
to have another friend and to do normal things,
Mhm.
and kind of the dream of people that have chronic issues, just
Mhm.
the normality, and that like she's never had it, or she like lost it pretty early. No, no, she never had it because her dad was always a demon. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of a lot to kind of process. And the name Crazy Head,
Mhm.
I keep trying to figure out. It was apparently supposed to be named Crazy Face. Its working title was Crazy Face. And,
Mm.
and I just, I mean, I think Crazy Face is better because Crazy Face like intimates that they see the true face of demons. I mean, even if only when they want them to, or they're mad or something. But it kind of, like, Crazy Head, I was always kind of just like, why is it called Crazy Head? Is it just because they think they're crazy at first? Because they don't think they're crazy for that long. Like Amy thinks she's crazy. Raquel knows she's not, but probably was put on drugs against her will because, she probably was caught doing something violent without the understanding that there are demons.
I think it could be. I didn't realize that the original title was thought of as Crazy Face. And when I heard Crazy Face, I always think of when someone says, like, put like your brave face on, or like show me your crazy face. Um, uh, and then Crazy Head, like, even if they eventually embrace the fact where, I'm not crazy, perhaps it could be a reference to that's how I'll still be perceived as others, but oh well,
Right, right,
like maybe it's supposed to be like more empowering, where basically maybe you're claiming the title, like, yeah, whatever, I'm crazy, I'm a crazy head, whatever, and just like move on sort of
right.
deal. Yeah, but both, I kind of like Crazy Head better, believe it or not. Like, if it had been called Crazy Face, all right, I would have had to deal with it. It's crazy. I really like Crazy Head. To me, it's just, I don't know, it needs to fit. I like Crazy Head more so than Crazy Face. I think they went with a good choice.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm fine with it.
Hmm.
Um, so it is about 10 to 1, and contractors are at my door. So there might be yelling and talking right next to me. So I don't know if this is a good time to wrap up.
No, I think it definitely is. I think I addressed most of, the things that I enjoyed, most of the questions that I had about where this would have gone. Obviously, one of the major reveals is that Suzanne is not real. Well, she is well, she's a whatever, like that she didn't really
She's less
die.
than dead.
Yeah, like someone obviously put her back together, unless she did it herself.
Or
And
she was like, she was in one container.
probably, and she's
I mean,
obviously drinking blood, so she's no longer fighting it. So I was curious where if she would have become the next villain, what would have happened with her character arc. So I was most curious about, like, what would have happened from that point on. But I guess, yeah, if we're going to conclude at this point, I would definitely, once again recommend that people watch it. I think it's a very, very entertaining show.
mhm.
Hopefully, I mean, it's very popular on Netflix. So
Yeah.
hopefully that
I hope
will,
people watched it first.
yeah.
If you
So
got this
maybe,
far, like, forget everything. Watch
yeah,
it now.
yeah. So maybe that will inspire the creator to come out with the next season if it's popular enough and there's more of a demand. But definitely, I would say watch it. I think you really will enjoy it.
Mhm. All
Yeah,
right.
so thank you for spending another hour with us. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'm signing out.
Have a great day. Thank you. Stay safe.
Have a great day. Bye, everyone.